Good evening and welcome to Livestream. We're seeing an unprecedented meteoric rise of fuel prices in India. For the fifth straight day, petrol and diesel prices have been increased. From yesterday, the prices were increased by 28 to 31 paise in Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai. And in the past 5 days, petrol prices have been raised across these cities by anything between 97 to 1 rupee 3 paise, while diesel prices have been raised by about 1 to 1.24 per litre. Now, with today's increase, diesel prices in Delhi are now at a fresh all-time high, while petrol prices are about 0.6% away from an all-time high of 76.06 rupees per litre that was recorded in September 2013. And naturally, the Aam Aadmi, the consumer, is feeling the pinch at the pump. And is it going to get worse for you and for me? You're watching Livestream. Tonight we're asking, petrol diesel rates hiked for the fifth straight day. Are they set to go up further? Is there more pain in the offing? Let's take a look now first at what the situation is right now. Diesel is at its highest ever. Petrol is a few paise from being at an all-time high. Delhi petrol at 75.6 rupees per litre. So that's what you're paying if you're at the pump today, filling up ahead of that big weekend. That's just about 45 paise cheaper than the highest point, which was on the 14th of September 2013. It was a little over 76 rupees to the litre. Mumbai, no different. Petrol is 83.45 today. That's 17 paise less than the all-time high. And now there are some industry heads who are forecasting that oil will hit $100. It's anybody's guess really how much more consumers will be paying at the pump. Now these oil prices are spiking. There's the US president pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. The higher oil prices will help producers like Saudi Arabia, Iran's main rival, and the US. So petrol prices on the boil, they may very soon climb to the highest ever in India's history if it raises by, some reports say, just by 18 paise. What are the reactions we're getting from the Aam Aadmi, regular Indians like you and me trying to get to work and get about their everyday lives? Let's listen in.
Just after the Karnataka elections, the fuel prices have hiked 5 times. We have 3 people with us at Chennai. So, Anaga, as a student, what are the difficulties that you face every day?
When I go to college from my home, in place of $50, he's asking $90, which is like a lot of money. So that is one problem which I'm facing. Also, other than the college problems, like the food and the non-food commodities have actually hiked up. So the vegetable vendors, the fruit vendors, they're all stating this fuel hike as a reason, and they're stating such huge amounts, which is not right. So what I feel is that the government of India can bring down the VAT so that these fuel prices come down a little bit.
Okay. So as a common man, do you think the poor people will be able to face this thing?
No, it's commonly very wrong decision. And then until the Karnataka elections, they didn't raise any amount for the fuel. After that, they have increased it for 5 times. So the poor people it will be very difficult for them to manage all these. The ones who will get daily wages and such type of people will find very difficult.
So we are paying 55% of taxes. So what's your take on it?
See, actually, petrol price is basically based on the international crude oil prices. So what really happens is, whenever there is a hike in the crude oil international market, they are increasing the price. And whenever there is a fall in the crude oil market also, there is no significant change in the price of the petrol. This is what, as a common man, we feel that, whenever there is a significant fall, we feel, there should be that decrease in petrol so that the consumers can enjoy the prices. Whenever there is a surge in the crude oil prices in the international market, so that downfall in the price should be enjoyed by the consumers. This is what I feel. And the taxes also should be reduced in order so, GST is not coming under petrol is not coming under the GST. So whenever GST is imposed, I think there will be a mechanism for the taxes. So that is what, as a common man, we feel it's a burden for each and everyone to run our day-to-day life.
All right, so that's the voice of the people coming in from the south. That was viewers we had spoken to coming in from Chennai. Let's also speak to residents of Delhi now joining us. Sukirti is following the story here. Sukirti, since Monday, petrol prices have increased 5 times. This is a continuous 5-day increase, and of course, there are major concerns for the general public.
not getting channel audio. Sir, I'm unable to hear you clearly properly, but what we can tell you is that we are currently standing outside a petrol pump in Civil Lines area, and the current hike in the diesel as well as the petrol prices in Delhi have definitely affected the common man. Most of the people that we spoke to here say that this entire hike is affecting them badly, since they travel in their cars on a daily basis and have been experiencing problems. We have with us one such traveler, Manish Kumar is here with us. सर, आप जो है वो डेली ट्रैवल करते हैं, आपको किस तरह की प्रॉब्लम आई है जो रीसेंट पेट्रोल और डीजल में हाइक है उसकी वजह से?
मैम एक्चुअली क्या है, पेट्रोल और डीजल में आजकल तो मिनिमम कोई ज्यादा इंटरफेयर मतलब ज्यादा वो नहीं है. मेरे पास और भी गाड़ियां हैं, पेट्रोल और डीजल दोनों, और दोनों में समथिंग 2-4-5 रुपये का फेयर होगा, इससे ज्यादा का नहीं. और इससे तो हमें कोई फायदा ही नहीं लग रहा. कोई फायदा हो तो बात करें, लेकिन डीजल का रेट, मैंने डीजल गाड़ी इसलिए ली थी और डीजल गाड़ी लेने में फायदा ही नहीं है.
So you see how people who bought even diesel cars feel that they are not getting any benefit in comparison to petrol, because even the diesel prices have seen a sharp hike. We'll ask this gentleman more about. Sir, आप कितना पिछले 3-4 महीनों में कितना हाइक आपने देखा है दिल्ली में अकेले प्राइसेस में, कितना फर्क पड़ा है आपको?
हर नाइट मतलब प्राइस बढ़ता है, ये नहीं है कि नहीं बढ़ता, बढ़ता ही है, ऑलमोस्ट बढ़ ही रहा है. और मतलब ज्यादा मिनिमम उसमें ज्यादा डिफरेंट नहीं है पेट्रोल और डीजल के अंदर. मेरे को लगता है कि इनका सेम रेट हो जाएगा. ज्यादा से ज्यादा 2 रुपीज का ज्यादा हेरफेर होगा, इससे ज्यादा नहीं होगा. पर लेकिन सेम डे रोज पर डे उसका डीजल का रेट बढ़ता है और बढ़ता रहेगा मुझे लगता है.
आपको सरकार से क्या उम्मीदें हैं? अभी कुछ आपको लग रहा है क्या करना चाहिए सरकार को? इलेक्शन खत्म होते ही जो है इतना ज्यादा हाइक हो गया है.
मैम सरकार के हाथ में तो है, लेकिन सरकार ही तो बढ़ा रही है. सरकार को इन चीजों का बेनिफिट है तो इसलिए बढ़ाती है. नॉर्मली बात है कि आपको देखा वाइन शॉप हो गई या पेट्रोल हो गया, इन चीजों का बेनिफिट होता है सरकार को, इसलिए सरकार इन चीजों पर पैसे बढ़ाती है.
So you see the people clearly have lost hope with the government. They say that the government is the one that holds the maximum power when it comes to reducing these prices, but they are the ones who are actually increasing the suffering of the common man when it comes to prices of diesel as well as petrol.
All right, thanks Sukirti for that. We have also joining us on the phone line Mr. Madan Sabnavis. He is the chief economist of Care Ratings. We'll also have M.K. Venu, founding editor of The Wire, joining us. Mr. Sabnavis, first to you. So just explain what exactly are the reasons? We're saying international crude oil prices, US sanctions on Iran, all of that. What about domestic issues back home?
See, the basic reason as to why the crude oil price has been going up is because of geopolitical factors. If you look at the plain demand and supply equation, there is not too much of problem in demand. In fact, at this particular point of time, there's not too much of demand coming on account of the heating requirement which is there in the Western countries, especially the US. So I think the main problem is more on the supply side. And the supply side, as we know, in the oil economy, everything is actually monitored by the OPEC and the non-OPEC nations, as well as the other geopolitical issues which are there. And now we have seen that this recent severing of this link between US and Iran has led to I would say a lot of uncertainty regarding what's going to be the future of the oil supply. And Iran is a significant player in terms of overall supply of oil to the world economy. And that's one of the reasons to why the price is going up. But to my mind, this is going to be more of a temporary phenomenon. And I say temporary, it's probably going to last for maybe 15 days to a month until we get more clarity about what this would really result in. But in the meantime, it's going to be high pain for us. Because I think the problem we have here in India is that the government is not willing to relent by either increasing the subsidy or reducing the taxes, which means that there's going to be a full pass-through of the higher oil price, which combined with a depreciating exchange rate is a double whammy actually for the consumers. So that's the reason why we're seeing the prices going up to such an extent.
I think that's one point that everyone will be in agreement. This is a double whammy for the consumer. We do have someone calling in from Bangalore. There's Mr. Dikshit who's calling in. I think he has a question for you. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. My question is that when Manmohan Singh was ruling this country and the international crude oil price was $140 per barrel, Manmohan Singh was selling petrol at 73 rupees on average in India. And now, when you say that the petrol barrel price is around $70 to $100, still it is not more than $140. And still Modi government sells petrol at more than 75 rupees on average in India. I just want to know why is this government looting people so much? And if the barrel price comes down also, they're not going to reduce the petrol price so much.
Mr. Sabnavis, did you hear that question? He's making the connection between crude prices and petrol prices right now, because crude prices now, I think, at $112 dollars, when it was 140. Our caller points out, Mr. Dixit from Bangalore, that petrol was 66 rupees. As an economist, can you explain that?
Yeah. So actually the issue is that during Manmohan Singh's time, we actually had the concept of a fuel subsidy, which meant that the government was subsidizing both petrol and diesel. At that particular point of time, it was felt that petrol definitely should not be subsidized, and therefore the subsidy went off. And soon they said that even the price of diesel has to be marked to market, and that's how the price of diesel also went up. So when the price was 140 per barrel, we did not suffer that much on account of the buffering which was provided by the government. So what happened subsequently was that when the price of crude oil came down, the government actually increased the taxes so that they were able to increase their collections and they were able to show better fiscal balances. Now what happens is that they're not willing to cut back on taxes, because if you do so, or you bring petrol, the entire petrol basket under the GST, it would automatically be affecting your own revenue. So given the fact that it's become a cash cow for the government, it's not possible for them to actually reduce the taxes significantly. And what they're doing now is to follow a policy of wait and watch. Let's see what happens, how long this will continue. Just before the elections, remember, the oil marketing companies actually were bearing the losses. And now they're reversing it by increasing the prices. So currently we have a situation where nobody wants to give up. The OMCs don't want to lose their income. Government does not want to get lower taxes, and therefore the consumer continues paying higher price. Now, I think until that inflation number crosses the 5% mark or 5.5% mark, only then, to my mind, will there be the antenna raised and some affirmative action taken by the government.
All right, okay, let's go across to Mr. Venu. Mr. Dixit, I hope that answers your question. Mr. Venu, whatever you say, this issue has definitely become politicized, and Rahul Gandhi had tweeted a few days ago that Karnataka finishes voting, fuel prices rise to a 4-year high. The key principle of Modinomics: fool as many people as you can, as often as you can. Can you explain to the lay viewer if there is a connection between local elections taking place and what that connection is?
See, Sarah, one of your viewers asked a very pertinent question, Mr. Dixit. When global oil prices had reduced by more than half when the Modi government came, it was down to some $40, $45, down from $115, $120. Then why were consumers continuing to pay 70 rupees plus on petrol and on diesel? Now, the BJP this government has not been able to answer that one simple question. Now, the only answer that the government has had in all these years, 4 years, when they have been collecting lakhs and crores through high taxes, India has one of the highest, taxes on petrol anywhere in the world. In fact, even if you compare with India with our neighborhood, Pakistan, Bangladesh, it is embarrassing the kind of taxes that Indians pay. Now, the explanation that Indian government had was that you please bear with us, we are using all this to build infrastructure and drive growth. So they were giving us the narrative of a tax and spend economy where huge taxes will be collected from the consumers instead of passing it on them, and it will be spent on infrastructure and general GDP growth. In my view, even that has not happened. So the government should come out and tell us where have all the 7-8 lakh crores that extra that they have collected over the last 4 years, where have they spent these amounts, and what is the impact of these amounts? So the consumer has every right to ask that. In fact, there are a lot of economists were at that time, I remember over 2 years ago, 3 years ago, were recommending to the government a balanced approach where they said at least pass on 20, 30, 40% to the consumer, keep 40% of the fall and pass on some for 40, 50%. But the government did not do that. It just did not pass on anything. And Sarah, I saw your NDTV talking to some taxi. A large number of Indians are now driving their own taxi, Uber, etc., which the government claims is employment. I have spoken to many of those taxi drivers. They are saying whenever oil prices go up, their incomes do not increase proportionately. They really have to suffer a big impact on their incomes. And these are all self-employed people whom this government claims that that they are doing very well these days. and you ask them, and they'll tell you that they are very unhappy about the way fuel prices are going up, and it is hitting their income. I'm talking about all the Uber and Ola drivers
Okay.
who their own cars. You know? Yeah.